Kochie's Business Builders is proudly brought to you by our partners Dell and KPMG, who are helping small businesses grow.
Coming up on Kochie's Business Builders, staying resilient in tough times, how the right mindset can help you endure. Success tips from the donut business making big dough, plus a local sporting goods business trying to rebuild after being devastated from COVID. G'day and welcome to another episode of Kochie's Business Builders, where we take a look at the issues facing small business owners and come up with practical advice and tips to help them succeed. Joining me today as co-host is Jessica Brown. Jessica is the founder of the Warrior Woman Foundation and one of the winners of the 2022 Snow Entrepreneurs Fellowship. Originally a high school teacher, Jessica's passion to make sure no one slips through the cracks has seen her launch a number of social enterprises whose mentorship and practical programs have helped thousands of vulnerable young Australians become resilient, independent and capable of taking their place in the world. Jessica, great to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure, thanks for having me.
I am a huge fan of mentors. Tell us why they can be so important to us.
Mentors are there to help and guide us throughout life, through our mentoring program that we have. We have a flagship program called the Young Warrior Woman Program. It's a psychoeducational mentoring program for vulnerable young women. And the role of the mentors in our program to be there to support them, to guide them, to not pose any judgment. Most of the time it's to listen to them and to be able to guide them. Mentoring is very, very different to teaching and coaching and things like that.
Does everyone need a mentor?
I think everybody should have a mentor. And it's quite common for people to have mentors in different areas of your life. I have a mentor, I've had many mentors throughout my career, and all of them have been able to help me in various ways.
Jessica, can't wait to hear your thoughts on our first business. Matt and Kate Redman are the proud owners of RBI Australia, a baseball and softball business that combines a sporting goods store with state-of-the-art batting cages. With strong sales on opening, the couple thought they'd hit a home run. But then, COVID put the kibosh on their dreams, like it did with a lot of businesses. Team sports were cancelled and demand plummeted. Then along comes La Nina, flooding the local grounds and washing out the season. It's like they can't catch a break. It has been a tough couple of years for a lot of businesses, Jessica. What's your advice to make sure Matt and Kate stay strong, stay resilient?
I think it's a matter of not losing that belief in your own abilities to succeed, which can sometimes happen when you're in survival mode. There's been so many people, so many founders, so many businesses who've literally have been in survival mode. I know a lot of entrepreneurs and they're so invested in their work that they sometimes forget to practice self-care. And so, you know, they might be very good at working, their business self, but they don't necessarily look after their spiritual self, their psychological self, their emotional health, and also their physical health as well. But in saying that, you know, to be able to get a business surviving throughout COVID, that shows enormous resilience anyway.
It's an achievement, isn't it? Now, to help Matt and Kate explore how they can chart a path back to success, we sent business strategist and KBB expert Andrew Griffiths along to see them and to learn more about the challenges they face.
Welcome to RBI Australia.
Nice to be here.
This is our batting cages for baseball and softball over here, our training facility. We have our team behind the cages over there and our retail shop, which is fully stocked with baseball and softball gear, everything you could possibly need over there.
What do you do in the nets? What happens in there?
People can hire them out and they do either hitting or pitching. We also run our RBI Academy in our cages. The middle net draws back and we can do fielding or we can put it back up and do the hitting. We have one-on-one private coaching that runs in there also.
How did you get into this, Matt?
Well, I've played baseball since I was 4 years old and I've got a real passion for it. I went into coaching from the time I was 18 and yeah, I've always thought we needed something, especially a store out this way, because the closest stores are, you know, an hour's drive or so away. The batting cages and training facilities. We've never had anything like this around. I would have loved the opportunity to train like this when I was a kid.
Yeah, sure, right, I can imagine.
Yeah, it could have really taken our game to the next level.
What did you do before this? Like, what was your... Are you a small business guy before this, or
No.
is this your first business?
Yes, well, I'm a baseballer trying to run a business, really.
Right.
But yeah, I've done everything from, I'm a butcher by trade, I'm a carpenter by trade, I've run warehouses, I've worked in bars. But all the way along, I've always ran off to coach my teams, run my teams, play my games. So to be able to do this for an actual job itself really is a dream for me.
What have you found the most challenging over the last few years?
I feel like we've got all the jobs of a big business, but we don't have the revenue of a big business, and it's just Kate and myself trying to get all these jobs done at the same time.
You haven't got a marketing manager and an IT manager and a HR manager or whatever it might be. You've got to be all of them.
Yes,
between
that's
the two
right.
of you.
We do. We need to cover all those things. And we have such good ideas that we can boost the business with and help our customers with it and make everything a greater experience. But we get bogged down in those little nitty-gritty of the day-to-day runnings of the business that just has to be done.
What is the future? What do you want this business to look like in 10 years?
We're trying to systemise everything at the moment, which again is another mammoth job.
Yeah.
But we're trying to systemise and get everything right, and so that then we can, pick this model up and put it down somewhere else, and whether it be franchising or expansion.
What about marketing?
Marketing is an endless pit, as everyone always tells us.
I'm a marketing man, I understand.
Yeah, good. We have done very little marketing. The only marketing we've done really is me doing the Facebook page and the Instagram.
Yeah.
So I try and update that daily. You can tell the difference when I don't post and when I do post stuff. You really can tell the difference in the results in the till.
I think it's a really important point, because we often think that marketing is tied into budget. If you haven't got any money for marketing, you've got to do no-cost marketing. It means you've got to put time in. And exactly what you're saying, I mean, having looked at your Facebook page, you're pretty active in there. But again, I think there's some things that we could be doing. Let's sit down and come up with some ideas, some strategies that you can actually use.
Sounds good.
Now, the latest Financing Women's Index reports the number of women board members on stock exchange-listed businesses is on the rise, which sounds like good news for gender equality, but there is also a downside. COVID has disrupted more than a decade of positive momentum in closing the gender pay gap, and underemployment continues to be an issue for many women. So, Jessica, it's actually illegal to pay a woman less than a man for doing the same job. So how is it that there's a pay gap?
Well, women tend to pick pink jobs, what we call pink jobs, and they are jobs that are either teaching, caring roles, nursing, the healthcare. There is a big pay difference between those two, the blue jobs and the pink jobs, and that's where we have that pay disparity.
Right, and so I suppose it's building a culture in a business that encourages both genders to progress, isn't it? And particularly female staff as well, that the sky's the limit for them.
Absolutely, and it's a known fact that men will jump in and absolutely go for that that next pay rise, whereas women are much more likely to reflect on that. They also take into consideration how that's going to affect their family, because many of them are either working part-time or full-time, juggling families and things like that. So women naturally are a bit more hesitant to jump into those roles, whereas men will just go in and do that. And so that is something that we need to change the culture with women, is to actually encourage them to go, yes, you can actually do this.
And another big issue is financial literacy, isn't it, in terms of superannuation and looking after your money?
Absolutely, and again, there's a gender gap there. More men are financially literate than women in Australia. Although we do rank highly in the world, youth particularly are really rank quite low in Australia, young people, which is why I'm so passionate about helping young women particularly to become financially savvy, to be able to learn how to manage their money and to be able to stand on their own 2 feet.
Yep, absolutely. Some really good points that we can all be involved in. Next up, KBB's tech guru Tracy Sheen reveals how you can get the free training you need to master your Google skills for business.
G'day folks, Tracy Sheen, the Digital Guide, back with another tech tip. This week I want to talk to you about Google Digital Garage. And for whatever reason, Google Digital Garage has been like this kind of hidden gem that I'm surprised people don't know about. Google Digital Garage is Google's own training platform. So if you've been wondering how to run Google ads, if you wanted to know about Google Analytics, if you don't understand what Google Search Console is, you can literally go into Google Digital Garage and tell Google what it is that you want to learn, and it will help you design a learning pathway. You can then dip in and out of sessions as you want to, and what I like about it is the sessions are actually really quite short. So if you've only got 15 minutes, no worries. Do a session, log off, come back in. You can even go so far if you want to get accreditation with different aspects. So by jumping into Google Digital Garage, give it a Google. Funny about that, right? Google Digital Garage, and it will take you to this learning platform where you can decide which pathway that you want to learn with Google. So that's it from me, Google Digital Garage. Tracy Sheen, the Digital Guide. I'll see you back with another tech tip.
We are Dr. Dough Donuts, and we are an online gifting company. We gift in the form of donuts, but we aren't what you would expect from a traditional donut store. So we operate online only. We don't have a storefront. Our customers place their orders online where they select from a wide range of donuts and additional gifts that they can choose from. They select their delivery date and time, and then they leave the rest to us.
We've both had more than 20 years experience in the fast food sector. We worked our way from the ground floor up in that business, and it just gave us some great understanding and fundamentals around operations. That was our forte, but we had plenty of experience in other departments. We were originally opening a cafe, and we looked at donuts as being a product that we were going to stock. Then we came to the realisation of why just bring in somebody else's product just to sell it for very little margin. So from coming with zero background in pastry or baking, with a lot of marketing and initiative, off we went and created the brand name Dr. Dough, and here we are now.
Our business actually evolved by listening to the customer and identifying the way in which they were actually using our product. So we started to realise that people were telling us that they were buying our product to gift to somebody else, which actually is what kicked off us noticing that and then providing a product that was suitable for every occasion. So when COVID hit, initially, like everybody else, we didn't really know what to expect. We actually initially thought that we were going to lose everything. So it was quite daunting and scary at the time. But what we then soon realised was that people wanted to stay connected to one another. So people started gifting more, and they started sending things because they wanted to share some sort of occasion with a relative or a loved one from afar.
Word of mouth is our #1 form of marketing. We deliver from as early as 7 a.m, whether that be to parents, to schools, to businesses. And it's that when a mother or a parent takes those donuts to school to celebrate that child's birthday, word just flows from that.
Before we could afford or had a budget for any form of marketing, it was all about people finding out about us because they had been gifted the product or they took that to a meeting. We also developed a great corporate customer base, all through word of mouth. For anyone who is looking to start their own business, I would definitely say keep focused on what the long game is. Starting up is easy, so you can start up, you can experience growth very quickly because you start with 0, you go to 10, you go to 20 and so on. But then it's when you get to year 1, 2 or 3 that you look around and you actually say, well, now what?
The next step for us is to, 1, continue to increase our product range. The other one is to cover the eastern seaboard. So our next stop will be Queensland, Brisbane more than likely, and then wherever we may end up.
Hi, I'm Kate Toon, founder of Stay Tuned, and today I'm giving you 3 copywriting tips. Tip number 1, does your copy pass the wee-wee test? All too often, when we're writing about our business, we just talk about ourselves, when we should be talking about our customers. So read your copy and see how many times you use the word we. Count the number of wee-wees in your copy. Number 2, make your copy a conversation. Remember, just one person is reading, so make it feel like you're talking to them. Ask questions, use short sentences and long sentences. Contract your words and make it feel like you're really making a connection through the screen or through the printed material. Finally, if you really struggle with the blank page, try reading your copy aloud. One thing that I recommend to business owners is to record themselves speaking about their business and then transcribe it using something like Otter AI. Then you'll have some perfect notes to start writing your copy.
Welcome back to Kochie's Business Builders. Earlier in the show, business strategist Andrew Griffiths met Matt and Kate Redman to learn about the challenges they face in their baseball business, RBI Australia. Now, let's check back in as Andrew offers some advice on how the couple can avoid the cash flow crunch and what opportunities they can explore to diversify the business.
You've very kindly told me all about your fabulous business. You know, where you've started, the challenges of starting something, you know, with a global pandemic in the middle of it. So in terms of cash flow, what have you been trying to do, or what have you been working on since you've started to try and alleviate that challenge?
Well, we generally have been trying to squirrel away our nuts, you know, in the busier periods to when all these things like COVID and stuff came around, because that just drained our finances that we had saved away.
It's such a common thing though, you know, most businesses have cash flow problems regardless of when they start, regardless of what is happening at a global level. It's very stressful when you're going through it, but I think you're doing a lot of the right things. What I love hearing is that you know your numbers. You're really across, you're getting good advice, you're talking to a proactive accountant that's also giving you business advice around refinancing, and you mentioned to me what your operating costs are. A lot of businesses, I ask them, what are your operating costs? They don't know. And they don't actually know if they're losing money or making money until after the financial year has ended. So again, if you said to me, what's the best thing we can do to manage cash flow, it's to know your numbers. Regarding the other challenges that we spoke a bit about were things like learning different skills, and how do you and Kate kind of upskill, I guess is the question I'm asking.
Audible, we're big Audible fans. Audible's one of the, costs us a bomb each month, but you know, I have different books of something I want to attack. I've basically got my whole education from listening to books. I haven't done any formal study or anything like that.
There's a quote that I like to use from a guy called Alvin Toffler, who wrote a book called Future Shock. He says, the illiterate of the 21st century won't be those who can't read or write, but those who can't learn, unlearn and relearn. And in small business, we are constantly learning something, then a new bit of technology comes along, we've got to forget that and we've got to learn something new. And there's no small business university where we all go and get all of our knowledge. My main background in business is really around marketing. I think you've got some really extraordinary potential with marketing by making a few little changes. What I think is missing from your marketing, both in your social media and actually on your website, is you. You know, you and Kate, to be really honest, your lovely wife, because I think that people actually want to know the person behind the business. And sometimes I think that we think we're too little in business if we're telling our story. Definitely not. They want to know your story and they want to get to know you. There should be videos of you guys on your Facebook page, on all of your social media. And it might be anything from talking a bit about like how you do what you do to what you do to the latest product. We've just got these in. I know it feels a bit uncomfortable to be the video guy or to be doing that stuff. I get it completely, but it is one of the greatest opportunities for you in your business. All right, Matt, I've given you a whole pile of stuff in there. There's probably stuff you don't want to do. It's been great to chat to you about this. I'd love to come back in a few weeks and just see how it's all going.
Yeah, it's been super helpful. Thank you very much. I'll give it a red hot crack.
There's some great advice there from Andrew, and I suppose, Jessica, the moral of the story is we can't be set in our ways anymore, can we?
Absolutely, and that is what COVID taught us. So we might have goals set for our business and then there's something there that gets in the way. So yeah, it certainly made us think on our feet and to be able to, make quick changes as necessary.
Stay flexible. Jessica, thanks so much for joining me today. It's been
a
great
pleasure.
having you aboard.
Thank you.
And remember, if you're looking for small business tips or the latest news and expert advice, then you can find them online at kochiesbusinessbuilders.com.au or follow Kochie's Biz on Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta and Twitter. I'll see you next time. Next week on Kochie's Business Builders, the bush botanical business in need of a sales boost, the warning signs your business is underinsured, plus the entrepreneur who built a multi-million-dollar business with no experience.